Hi, my name is Paul Friedman. I am the founder of the Marriage Foundation. If you're not a subscriber yet, especially with this kind of topic, how to stop accusing my husband of cheating, you should become one because it's very important for you to learn how to be married. So this topic, and you'll see, subscribing to this channel, you'll learn things about marriage you don't hear anywhere else. And in fact, our approach to marriage is so different. And people who take, I'm sorry to throw this in, but I'm going to, the people who take our courses are usually in a situation where there's infidelity, usually. And we get those marriages completely rejuvenated because our approach to marriage is real, it's realistic. So this topic just begs me to tell you that one of the rules, because there's rules to marriage, think of it as you have something and you want it to work, and you have to know how it works and your part in making it work the way it's supposed to. A car, even a blender, anything in life, mountain climbing, everything. And so marriage isn't any different. You need to know where the guardrails are, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what you can't do, what you can do, because the world is cause and effect, isn't it? Now, we know that marriage is spiritual because it's about love. You got married out of love. And there's cause and effect because we don't live in that state of love. Part of what we teach at the Marriage Foundation is how to live in that state of love, because that's why you got married, and in that state of joy, because isn't that important to you also? So how to stop accusing my husband of cheating? You have free will. You literally have the ability to not just act, not just choose between chocolate and vanilla ice cream, but literally you have the ability to control every single thing your mind does. There are people in this world who literally can control the flow of their blood because the mind does that too. Involuntarily, we call it involuntarily, but it still has to be operated. So you have the ability to choose whether you accuse your husband of cheating or not. Now, when I first started this, I used to be a divorce mediator. I have to tell you this because it'll give context to what I'm going to share with you. So I was a divorce mediator. I ended it in 2001. What happened was one of my clients said, look, we just don't want to get a divorce, but the therapy has failed, the marriage counseling, the couples counseling, everything's failed. So you're an expert in communication. I mean, hello, that's what I was doing, is divorce mediation. Would you help us? And I said, okay, I'll help you, but I got to learn about marriage. So I took some time and I learned about marriage, found out why people get married, what should be the goals in trying to make the marriage work again, and all of that. And my first run with them, I'll call him John, was to describe choice, binary, because that's what we're capable of doing. And I asked the question, if you tell your wife that she's looking beautiful, what kind of reaction will you get? A positive one. And she, yeah, a positive one. And what if you tell her, even though it's true, that she looks awful today? Is that going to make her feel good? No. Okay, so let's start breaking down our actions, our behaviors between good and bad. Well, we didn't have to work very long. I mean, they got it. But here's what happened. The husband came back to me. I don't remember now. It's been a long time. A week or two later, he said, Paul, this stuff is great, but I still do things, still say things that I shouldn't do. It's just habit. So I've been meditating since 1972, and I have a relationship with God, and I ask him questions, and he gives me answers or shows me where the answer is. So I said, let me get back to you. I meditated and I asked God, what do I do here? And he gave me what we call the so technique. I mean, it all just came together in my mind, because what this first client in Saving Marriages was telling me was also my experience. I had been fighting anger in the 90s. I decided one day in the early 90s, maybe not the early 90s, that I was going to stop expressing anger because I had an anger problem. And so I got to the point of where I was on the floor, clutching myself in fetal position. I couldn't stop my mind from being angry. And I tried all sorts of remedies. In fact, I carried around an expression from, more than an expression, from St. Francis. And that was sort of my pole star, but it was inspirational, and it didn't help me. Didn't help. I mean, of course it helps you to hear things from St. Francis, but it didn't help me with my anger. And so what my client was telling me was right. It's very difficult. And so I believe it was God who downloaded this whole thing to me, and I call it the SO technique. S-E-W. Stop. Just stop. We have that power. It takes will, and you have to develop it a little bit, but you just stop. Evaluate. Is it going left or right? Is it positive or negative? And then act with wisdom. Wisdom is innate to our soul. Now, I'm giving you, believe it or not, this is the simple version of the SO technique. In the courses, I go into it much more extensively. You need it. You have to have what's behind it in order for you to be able to really utilize it. But some of you will be able to just do it. So when you're about to accuse your husband of cheating, stop. Just stop. Evaluate. And then act with wisdom. Now, what if he is cheating? Most of our clients have that in their marriage. And they're able to completely reconstruct their marriage, even though. Because infidelity, unfortunately, in our world is not even really all that frowned upon. People understand it. Okay, I understand it too. I don't condemn those who cheat, because no one taught us how to be married. Now the common thinking is, well, go ahead. It's okay, end the marriage. It's okay. The kids will be fine. And it's not. None of that is okay. And the person cheating knows it's not okay deep down, because there's promises of loyalty. Loyalty is the highest spiritual law. By the way, marriage is all about spiritual. It's about love. So the laws that apply are spiritual laws. I'm not talking about religious laws, but they're spiritual laws. And there's a difference. Religious laws are the dogma that each religion puts together to create a path for you to find God. But spiritual laws are universal. They're what are underlying all the religious doctrines that exist. And so you don't want to have cheating going on, but you also want to make sure that your marriage is functioning at the highest conceivable level. And no one teaches us that. And it's not anyone's fault. I'm not blaming anybody, but it's not taught. And if you go to traditional marriage counseling, they go, okay. And these are my friends, the marriage counselors, okay? I like them because they've dedicated their lives to helping people, but they've been so mistaught. When I first trained the first batch of marriage counselors that I had, it was just wonderful people. And there was one in particular, he passed away, Paul Hagenberger, in San Diego. And he said, Paul, I love your stuff. It's what I teach. It's educational, and it gets to the point and all that. And I said, well, then, Paul, you don't need to join us. He says, no, I want to be part of this. This is important. And we're starting to reach out. I want to have people who are psychologists, and they're failing miserably with marriages, even their own, I want them too because they have the right attitude. Those who help people with marriages should be lovers of humanity, people who serve, people who enjoy seeing other people succeed. You know, there's a lot of jealous people in the world, and if you accomplish something, they're mad at you. Then there's those who are glad in your happiness. And those are the kinds of people we want to collect to be TMF marriage counselors, not therapists though. We don't do therapy here. We counsel people, we guide them how to create their marriage. So if your husband is cheating on you, you got to take it back a step and you got to go, why? Why? The answer is obvious. It's because he's not getting what he expected when he married you, and you are not either. And it's not your fault, it's not his fault, it's not society's fault, it's just the way it is. The Marriage Foundation is the cutting edge, so people don't have these things. They're still confused about love. They call love an abstract thought, an idea, an increase like, which is nonsense. You know what love is, because when you met your husband, there was that click. You found your soulmate. Way deeper than just liking that dress or loving that new house and all of that stuff, which is just mundane. So you really want to heal your marriage first. You can easily stop, put the brakes on when you're about to accuse him, but you don't even want to accuse him in your mind. Your mind should be used as a tool of yours to increase your joy and your love. Right? That's what the mind is for. Sure, it has to function in the world. You need to calculate things. You need to have filters. You need to see things as they are. But who's in charge of your mind? So like in our courses, that's the first thing we address. It's a two-pronged attack on marriage. One, you got to learn how to master your mind using the SO technique, and you got to learn the rules, the guidelines for how to be happy in your marriage. It's all so important. It all comes together when you know what's going on. When you recognize, first of all, that you're supposed to be filled with joy in your marriage. You're supposed to be filled with love. You're supposed to have so much harmony that you can taste it. And I'm going to tell you this is the truth. If you're not having those, you can change it because you have free will. You have the power. You have free will, you have volition, which is putting your free will into action, and you have the consciousness of what it is you want. You see? This is all spiritual stuff. Marriage is a spiritual entity. You have the right to demand of it everything, but you have to do your part. Wow. I didn't know I would, I don't have a script when I do these videos. I'm given a topic and I just get going. And I think sometimes I'm inspired to go a little deeper, like in this particular video. And for sure, there's a person out there, if it's not you, that this was meant for, right? So, my blessings to you and your family, all my love, all my prayers. God bless you. And again, I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. We're here to serve you. That's it. I made plenty of money as a divorce mediator. I hope I've paid off that karma of helping people get a divorce by now. But if not, it doesn't matter. I'm here to help you now. So God bless you. Thank you. See you next time. And take care.